The story started with a little curious girl named Layla. She was fascinated by museums and their collections. Every time she read about a museum, she would stop and stare at it, imagining what it would feel like to touch and interact with the objects inside. But Layla lived in a small town, very far away from any museum, and her parents could never afford to take her to these museums. So she felt disappointed and frustrated in her situation. Despite the distance, Layla's enthusiasm for museums never waned. She started looking for virtual galleries and visited all of them online. But it was still not enough. She wanted to feel those artifacts in her hand and explore their textures. Layla's problem is my research problem. In collaboration with Canada Museum of Science and Technology, we're looking into how to create museum experiences that are remotely accessible, interactive, and portable. Yes, museum experiences are interactive, but remote museums are not. To this day, remote museums are still restricted to only virtual galleries and similar alternatives that are only available online. My research can be broken down into several different phases, each phase requiring a different skill set, from art and design to computing. We first visited the museum in person and brainstormed which artifacts can and should be replicated. We then used 3D software tools to create authentic replicas of these artifacts and 3D printed them. We then used laser cutting technology to create various interactive elements and embedded them with sensors, circuits, and wireless technologies. These circuits were coded so that we can see people's interactions in real time and record it to the cloud for us to analyze. All of these phases in the end led to the Museum on Wheels, which you can see in the image behind me. This museum has been deployed in 4 locations here in Kingston for 2 months. We also collected user data and user studies to understand how people would interact with, make sense of, and perceive such an idea. So, what's the point of doing all of that? Our aim is to help Layla and many others who cannot access museums remotely to access it in tactile ways everywhere, anywhere, and whenever they want. Quite interestingly, our user studies showed that people were more inclined to learn in a leisurely way at their own pace and without feeling overwhelmed the same way they would in traditional museums. So, I hope that we help Layla and many others to create remotely accessible museum experiences. Thank you.